Hello everyone, Vincent Bialdota here. I wanted to talk about how to avoid paying cryptocurrency taxes. So really, in other words, I'm going to give you some ideas of things that people have done. I'm not promoting that you do this, just giving you kind of an overview. Now, I've done this video before, but it was pulled from YouTube when they had that kind of weird flagging thing of crypto videos. So I decided to go ahead and redo it because I wanted to touch on some things that, I think are important now that we're approaching tax time. I talked about Monero too in a previous video for privacy and yada yada. So anyway, a few things to remember. Now this kind of applies for the United States, but I'm going to talk about, some things that kind of apply worldwide. The first thing to remember is that I think a lot of people forget, a lot of people don't understand, or they get overly freaked out about tax time, right? They panic. And so they just go ahead and they file a return. Okay? You don't want to do this. If you're uncertain or you have money that's is unreported or weird things going on, just avoid filing because you can skip a year or two or whatever because you can back file. Yeah, there's going to be some penalties, but it's not a big deal. Okay, nobody essentially, it's not a criminal, insomma, it's not a criminal case for not filing. Okay, it's a criminal case when you file a tax return and you omit information or you smudge figures. That's criminal. I get it. So don't panic. People panic. They just file something. And it's a lot better not to file than to file something that has lies on it. Okay. Like I said, you can backfile for years, and the U.S. government can only audit you 7 years in the past. So if you manage to, skip out for like 7 years, then the other stuff doesn't really count. I'm not saying you should do this, obviously. I'm just telling you that the criminal part of it comes from lying about it. Okay, so if you stop filing forever, eventually they're gonna hit you, and they get you with the full 7 years that they can. Okay, you're gonna have to pay that because they're gonna do it civilly. Like they're gonna get their money. Now, if you still refuse to pay, it can turn into an affair where you can end up in jail. But I'm telling you, as far as small things, it's more about lying on your tax returns. Also, for small amounts of money, they don't even waste their time on charging you. They're just gonna send you a bill that shows what you owe with interest, and you make a payment plan. They're not even going to give you a payment that's not inconceivable because they want to get their money. Okay, so as long as you comply, you pay it. Now, in the long run, you're better off spearheading this situation from the beginning, getting the information you need, and reporting all of your income. You have to be careful because, like anything that uses your social, it is reported income. I get it. So it's not advisable to hide money. I get it. That's just my advice. There's a lot of things you can do to reduce your tax burden, and I'm going to discuss those. But as far as cryptocurrency, you're better off paying. And I've known some people, okay, that actually didn't file for a few years because sometimes you take losses and yada yada, and have come out ahead still, back filing rather than filing every year, simply because every time you sell, say, BTC for ETH, that's a taxable event. And so what people don't understand is it's kind of like, a 401k, as long as you buy Bitcoin and you hold it, it's not taxable. As soon as you bring it back to cash or you create a taxable event, that's when it's taxable. So your best bet when investing in cryptocurrency isn't doing as much active trading, unless that's your thing and you know what you're doing with active trading. But if you come across new cryptos, just buy into the new cryptos. Don't go BTC to that. You know what I'm saying? Now with Coinbase, there's tons of options and cryptocurrencies available that you can buy directly. You can buy directly altcoins without having to go BTC to then the altcoin. Difference being taxable event and non-taxable event. One is investing and it grows, and then you only have to report it once you cash it in or you create a taxable event. The other one, every time you trade. And that's when it gets really complicated. I think they're going to iron out a lot of those details when it comes to, trading, because it's ridiculous. But, and that's another thing you have to be careful using these cards. I give you them. Like the Visa that connects to your crypto wallet, because every time you sell that BTC to load onto that card, you're creating a taxable event. So it just depends on how much you're using it. Because the more money you use, the more you might get the attention of the IRS. You gotta understand, a lot of people smudge numbers like we on their tax returns. It's not something obviously I do or I encourage, but I'm just saying. So it's kind of a gamble on whether or not you're going to get picked, right? If you're in a small business or you own an LLC or anything like that, you have a high probability of getting audited, a better chance of them finding out. Also, if you got sent letters from Coinbase, not from Coinbase, but they gathered a bunch of information about traders and it's speculated that Coinbase leaked that information to the IRS. I think there was certain parameters. You're talking about almost close to $100,000 in cash in and out of an account within a year for them to have sent out a letter, kind of flagging you. I didn't receive a letter, and I did about 100 grand for sure that first year. I don't really use Coinbase anymore, but I did in the very beginning. So I don't know. Maybe hopefully those things came into effect once I really wasn't using Coinbase as actively as I used to. I don't know, but it's something to look out for. So overall, if you want to reduce your tax burden, it just depends. If you're an average trader, go with buying and holding. That's the best solution for you long term. If you don't and you're an active trader, then kind of look into more laws and see if maybe you want to back file if you haven't already. But definitely don't file and lie. And if cryptocurrency has become a big thing for you and you've made $1 million or more, or even just $500,000, and it's a substantial amount of money, you might want to look into moving to a jurisdiction where you can save money. Now, this could be somewhere like Wyoming or Texas that doesn't have any state income tax. Or it could be somewhere like Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the United States, but does not tax capital gains. A lot of people don't know this, but this is why a lot of the crypto people, like that disgraciato that's always wearing the cowboy hat, I don't know what his name is. But what I'm saying is, this could be an option. You wouldn't even have to live there full time. I think, what do you need to establish residency? I've had a residency in other states. You just say that, you stay like 6 months in a day in another state and you can keep that as your primary. So you buy yourself a house in Puerto Rico, you Airbnb the shit out of that place to create some vacation rental income, and you live wherever you want, right? That's the same thing people do in New Hampshire. Just random thought. There's no taxes on your tag. You're like, there's no taxes on your vehicle. Also, New Hampshire is the only state in the United States that does not require you to have car insurance. So you can actually not even get liability car insurance. Obviously, if you're making payments on the vehicle, that's something that's required from your insurance company, so you still have to. But if your car's paid off, don't have to have it. Live free or die. That's what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of Ferraris, a lot of very exotic cars registered in New Hampshire. If you're into investing in cars and shit, might be something to look into. I don't think New Hampshire has a lot of state tax. They don't have state tax. They don't have anything like that. Liquor super super cheap out there. The only problem is, a lot of these states, they make up for it by taxing property really high. New Hampshire, depending on the county and the city, property tax can be a little high. One of the places that has no state income tax, no sales tax, bullshit like that, and has one of the lowest property tax rates of the entire country. Can you guess what state it is? Wyoming. Boom. Which is also a very popular state to incorporate LLCs for a variety of reasons. I'm not a big Nevada fan. You can do New Mexico is best for privacy, so a lot of people do a New Mexico LLC, and then that LLC owns a Wyoming LLC. Anyway, that's a whole nother ball game. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea about that kind of stuff. So if you're wanting to trade crypto from the get-go, and you're concerned about privacy, you're concerned about taxes, is there a way to get your money into crypto in a way that is not tracked back to you? Obviously, this is for speculative purpose, not educational. I'm not telling anybody to do this. Well, as the years go by, it is becoming more and more difficult to do so with the KYC compliance and all this other shit going on that requires people to register. Bitcoin ATMs, when they first came out, you could deposit money and get yourself some crypto. Super high fee, I get it. But you would not have to put in your social or anything. Now I'm hearing more and more Bitcoin ATMs do require sometimes KYC compliance. So that's becoming an issue. Another option is local Bitcoins. Okay, and I've actually heard of people getting locked up, criminally charged for not having a license to sell cryptocurrency that are working through local Bitcoins and stuff like that to sell direct. And there's a lot of scams out there, so that's another thing you gotta be very careful. So overall, you may not have a lot of options. Biggest issue is getting USD into crypto from the get-go, because if you can get it into crypto, I could either you can just put it on a wallet that's not connected to you, whatever gains and whatever happens, boom, you have that, right? But local bitcoins, that's still trying to find one of these is difficult. There are a lot of small exchanges and wallets that are international that you can go and get the money like wired to them. But as soon as you're wiring, I mean, you got to have a US bank account first, right? So unless you already have an overseas bank account, you got to do a citizenship, that can become very difficult. So it is definitely becoming harder and harder to get cryptocurrency that way. Only other way I know is to create a product or service and accept cryptocurrency as payment. Okay, then boom, you're kind of square on that. As long as you handle your business, you do it to cold wallets or wallets that aren't KYC compliant. Other than that, if you know of any options for people, leave it in the comments, because that might be an interesting thing to explore. I talk about this stuff. It's just for educational purposes, just to know what's going on. Just like when we talk about the dark web and we talk about how people are getting caught on the dark web and trace back, and I discussed some of that in my previous video. It's all things that are good to know. So that's kind of the 411. Ultimately, you have to take into consideration your personal financial situation and how much is it worth it. If you have a family and you're already established in the United States and stuff, it's difficult to take a move. Even moving to another country like Belize or Portugal or somewhere that doesn't have capital gains tax, you're still looking at an exit fee to renounce your U.S. passport. That's true. Your citizenship. I say passport because a passport is kind of the token to establish citizenship. You got a U.S. passport, you're a U.S. citizen, right? So when United States is one of the only countries that taxes international income, meaning if you go for a year and work in Germany, the United States, once it's cut, and if you decide, okay, well, I'm no longer going to be a U.S. citizen, if you have, I think it's over a certain amount, it's certainly above $1 million, there is an exit kind of tax. So that's also something you may want to look at. Roger Ver, right? However you say, of Bitcoin Cash, renounced his U.S. citizenship after he went to prison, I believe for sending fireworks through the mail or some shit like that. I don't know what he was doing. But he went to St. Kitts and Nevis, which is a place that allows you to gain citizenship in their country, which is a British passport, I believe, for either a $200,000 investment in property on the islands or like a $50,000 to $75,000 donation. So that's also an option. Then again, you got to look at that exit tax from the United States. And then with that British passport, you can kind of live anywhere. You don't really have to stay on the island or anything like that. So there's a lot of options, mainly just based on your financial situation and how far you're willing to take this. I know in the early days when I got started, there's a lot of people amassed a lot of money. If you're a single guy and you can kind of take flight, do your thing. For me, I like the United States, and I probably would go live somewhere else. But I think that a lot of places, people go to South America and these places thinking, oh, my dollar's worth 10 over there or whatever. And then they're stuck realizing the place doesn't have air conditioning, doesn't have a washer and dryer, and the standard of living is much lower. I give you, just because you can hire somebody for $10 to work for you for a day doesn't mean that the amenities that you're used to are going to cost you more, because they're not standardized in that area. And starting a business and doing different business ventures, especially in the tech industry, real estate, all that kind of stuff, is very easy here in the United States. So it's better to use that money to create something sustainable. You want to reduce your taxes, start a small business that has, tax advantages and stuff. This is all kind of stuff we can talk about in future videos. But there's a lot of opportunity here, especially if you're trying to create something sustainable. And I think cryptocurrency, for me and for a lot of people, gave you an opportunity to see what else is out there, and pretty much an alternative investment to going traditional stocks and shit. So I said shit. Now it's gonna demonetize the video. Insomma. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If usually I do more funny videos, but I want to do a quick one. It was kind of replacing the old one. Probably this one sucks compared to the other one, but whatever. So if you guys are not subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any personal anecdotes or experiences that you would like to share, please use them in the comments because I want to hear them. Maybe I'll feature them or something because I don't know everything. So I'm just throwing things out there. Maybe start a conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, buy red, sell green, and pay your taxes.
Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.